And Vivek Ramaswamy won the Republican nomination for Ohio governor on Tuesday, putting the staunch ally of Donald Trump on a path to running the Rust Belt state. In unofficial results, he defeated Casey Puch, a car designer with an automotive-themed YouTube channel, for a place in the general election, according to US media reports. And United States President Donald Trump has said that Project Freedom, the US military operation to move stranded ships out of the Strait of Hormuz, has been paused temporarily. Trump made the announcement on his Truth Social platform on Tuesday.
By OpenAI COO's own admission last February, we have not yet really seen AI penetrate enterprise business processes. But for enterprise software giant SAP, whose stock has dropped significantly in 2026 in part from the SaaSpocalypse, the issue is still front and center. On Monday, the European heavyweight announced its intention to acquire German AI startup Prior Labs for an undisclosed amount. Pending regulatory approval, SAP plans to invest €1 billion, approximately $1, 16 billion into the business over the next 4 years, to grow it into an AI lab focused on structured data, the tables and databases where enterprise information typically sits. Neuro has been granted a permit to begin driverless testing of Lucid Gravity SUVs equipped with its autonomous tech on California public roads, vehicles that will eventually be used in Uber's premium robotaxi service. But the Silicon Valley-based startup backed by NVIDIA and Uber says it isn't quite ready to begin. The California Department of Motor Vehicles, the agency that regulates the testing and deployment of autonomous vehicles in the state, confirmed to TechCrunch on Tuesday that it modified Neuro's driverless AV permit to include Lucid Gravity vehicles. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the initial U.S.-Israeli offensive in Iran, known as Operation Epic Fury, is over after it reached its objectives. We would prefer the path of peace. What the President Donald Trump would prefer is a deal, he told reporters on Tuesday.
Lucid Motors said Tuesday that it's no longer sure how many EVs it will build or sell this year as it navigates a transition to a new CEO and a company-wide cost-cutting push. The company said in February that it planned to build between 25,000 and 27,000 vehicles this year. That's far from the hundreds of thousands of vehicles that Lucid Motors estimated it would build and sell this year when it went public back in 2021. But it would have represented a significant bump from last year's figure of around 18,000.
And companies working on batteries, semiconductors, and medical devices generate vast amounts of data, and much of it ends up scattered across spreadsheets and legacy systems, making it hard to use to improve products or understand failures. And San Francisco-based startup Altara, which just secured $7 million in seed funding, says it has built an AI layer designed to bridge these data gaps and bring fragmented technical information into a single platform. And the round was led by Greylock, with participation from Neo, Box Group Liquid 2 Ventures, and Jeff Dean.
As Bumble gets ready for a big overhaul meant to win back Gen Z users, who are pretty over dating apps right now, its latest earnings still reports that paying users are declining. In the first quarter of 2026, total paying users fell 21.1% to 3.2 million, down from 4 million a year ago. This has been the story for a few quarters now. However, during the call to investors this afternoon, Bumble has framed this as a deliberate shift toward higher quality, more intentional users. Arsenal has reached the Champions League final for the first time in 20 years as Bukayo Saka sealed a 1-0 win against Atletico Madrid. Mikel Arteta's side settled the semi-final's second leg with Saka's strike late in the first half at an ecstatic Emirates Stadium on Tuesday.
In a blog post that lays out a vision for crypto's future, ranging from a new financial system to warnings about PAC AI, A16Z Crypto announced a new $2.2 billion fund. This is the VC firm's fifth fund and brings the total raised to date to $9.8 billion. It says, in addition, the fund also promoted its CTO, Eddie Lazarin, to general partner, bringing the GP investing team to 4 people. Lazarin joins Chris Dixon, Ali Yahya, and Guy Ouellet. The fund has backed standout companies like Coinbase, Kalshi, and Solana Foundation. Iran has attacked a UAE petroleum site in Fujairah, just days after the United Arab Emirates announced it was leaving OPEC. As the Strait of Hormuz crisis deepens and oil prices keep rising, could this accelerate the shift to renewables, or are we heading into an era of energy volatility? In this episode,
a military operation titled Project Freedom has been launched by the US Navy to secure a safe passage of commercial vessels through the blocked Strait of Hormuz. A spokesperson for the United States military's Central Command, CENTCOM, told Al Jazeera on Tuesday. The Strait of Hormuz has been at the center of the US-Israeli war on Iran that began on February 28, triggering disruptions that have pushed up commodity prices around the world. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio has pushed back on comments that President Donald Trump accused Pope Leo XIV of endangering Catholics over his stance on the Iran war, saying his early remarks had been mischaracterized. Well, I don't think that's an accurate description of what he said. Rubio told reporters on Tuesday, when asked about Trump's comments, that the Pope was endangering a lot of Catholics.
when iOS 27 is released later this year, iPhone users will reportedly have a lot of choice when it comes to which AI models they want to use on device. A new report from Bloomberg says that Apple plans to give users their pick of a number of third-party large language models that will be capable of powering various functions within the iPhone's operating system. The new feature, dubbed Extensions internally, will allow users to access generative AI capabilities from installed apps on demand through Apple Intelligence features such as Siri, writing tools, image playground, and more, reads a message reportedly shown in test versions of the software.
The United States is set to impose 25% tariffs on the European Union's auto sector, a move that would reverse an agreement reached in August between Washington and the bloc. US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told CNBC on Monday that the White House is moving forward with this action.
And Volkswagen has pushed Amazon out of the top spot to become Rivian's largest shareholder, new filings with the US Securities and Exchange Commission show. VW Group's increasing equity stake in Rivian, which has grown from 8.6% to 15%, and 9% in less than 2 years, is tied to a joint venture with the EV startup. And the Rivian and Volkswagen Group Technologies joint venture, officially formed in November 2024, is focused on the development of electrical architecture and software. And every time you use AI, you are in some small way depending on a 42-year-old, 44,000-person Dutch company that spends 4.5 billion each year to advance its technology, ASML, headquartered in the Netherlands, and makes the machines that make the chips that make AI possible. More specifically, and it makes the only machines in the world capable of printing the microscopic patterns on silicon wafers that define the most advanced semiconductors, a process called extreme ultraviolet lithography, or EUV. And the machines are roughly the size of a school bus, take months to assemble, involve hundreds of suppliers, and cost anywhere from $200 million to upwards of $400 million apiece, depending on the generation, prices that give even ASML's biggest customers pause occasionally.
Beirut, Lebanon. As the battles rage on in southern Lebanon, pressure is mounting on President Joseph Aoun to meet directly with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in an event that could further incite internal tensions in the country. While no date has been set, Lebanon's Aoun will reportedly visit the White House later in May, a month after Israel and Lebanon's first direct negotiations in decades, which have divided Lebanese people.
And Threads is rolling out messaging on the web, bringing one-on-one and group chats to desktop, the Meta-owned social network announced on Tuesday. By bringing messaging to the web, Threads is aligning its desktop experience more closely with competitors like X and Bluesky. Connor Hayes, Meta's head of Threads, said in a post that web messaging was the most requested feature from users after the company first introduced DMs in July 2025. And players would boycott the French Open if their prize money at the clay court Grand Slam is not increased. Women's world number one Arina Sabalenka said on Tuesday, with Coco Gauff also voicing support for the drastic step. The threat deepens a dispute between players and Roland Garros organisers over prize money distribution. Even though this year's tournament offers a 9.5% increase to €61.7 million, 70.19 million.
4 of 6 British pro-Palestinian activists have been convicted of criminal damage relating to a 2024 raid on a factory operated by Israeli defence firm Elbit, with one of the defendants found guilty of striking a police officer with a sledgehammer. London's Woolwich Crown Court on Tuesday found Charlotte Head, 30, Samuel Corner, 23, Leona Cameo, 30, Fatima Zainab Rajwani, 21, guilty. Zoe Rogers, 22, and Jordan Devlin, 31, were found not guilty. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has filed a lawsuit against Character AI, claiming that one of the company's chatbots masqueraded as a psychiatrist in violation of the state's medical licensing rules. Pennsylvanians deserve to know who or what they are interacting with online, especially when it comes to their health, said Governor Josh Shapiro in a statement on Tuesday. We will not allow companies to deploy AI tools that mislead people into believing they are receiving advice from a licensed medical professional.
And Airbnb billionaire co-founder Joe Gebbia is growing his team at the US National Design Studio. The Trump initiative focused on improving the government's online presence. On Monday, and Gebbia announced that American designer Peter Arnell joined the team to become the first US chief brand architect. Gebbia shared the news of Arnell's hire during the Wall Street Journal's Future of Everything conference on Monday. And Arnell will be joining a group of people that includes Silicon Valley design and software engineering talent who are singularly focused on reshaping the usability of the US government's online platforms.
Leigh Hoare. A woman and her 3 children were murdered in their house in Malton, police said on Tuesday, adding that the crime scene was staged as a suicide. City police officer, CPO, Malton Sadiq Ali Dogar, confirmed to the media that the woman and her children were murdered, and it was staged as a suicide.
And Mexico will make history this summer as the first country to host 3 World Cups, but the excitement over that record is not reflected among Mexican fans. And Francisco Javier Ferreira remembers the 2 World Cups he attended in his home country in 1970 and 1986, but he will not be able to attend the third. The 70-year-old says the high cost of tickets for the 13 matches on Mexican soil, and combined with the difficulty of getting a ticket and the limited number of games assigned to Mexico as the third host country, has dampened his excitement as a fan.
Tehran, Iran. Iran's judiciary has promised to continue taking decisive action against people it accuses of working for foreign interests as it reports more executions and asset seizures. Judiciary and security authorities said they will act decisively against the enemy's mercenaries without leniency until the very last one, according to a state television report aired late on Monday. The United Arab Emirates has come under attack from Iranian missiles and drones for the 2nd day in a row, according to its defence ministry. Tuesday's attack came a day after at least 3 key people were injured in strikes the day before, and a drone sparked a fire at a key oil facility in the eastern emirate of Fujairah.
And and tech giants Microsoft, Google, and XAI say they will allow the United States federal government access to their new artificial intelligence models for national security testing. The Center for AI Standards and Innovation, CAISI, at the Department of Commerce announced the agreement on Tuesday amid increasing concerns about the capabilities that Anthropic's newly unveiled Mythos model could give hackers. And on Monday, OpenAI released a new foundation model called GPT-5.5 Instant, which will replace GPT 5.3 Instant as the default ChatGPT model. The company said the model reduces hallucination in sensitive areas such as law, medicine, and finance, while maintaining the low latency of its predecessor. OpenAI released the latest GPT 5.5 model last month, with the company claiming improvements in areas like coding and knowledge.
The Punjab Education Management Authority, PEPMA, has launched a province-wide physical verification drive in its schools to curb fake student enrollments and ensure accurate records. According to officials, the verification process will run from May 4 to May 21, during which the presence of students enrolled in each school will be physically checked. The initiative aims to eliminate fictitious or paper enrollments and confirm the actual number of students in schools.